done with our quiz, let's get that wrapped up, please. We're going to do, now that your BFF cards are finished, we're going to do a quick practice. So I'm giving you actually 6 practice BFFs. We're only going to do one today, but we'll try to do a couple each day, and sometime this weekend, you will be ready for our BFF memorization quiz, all right? So I want you to have your cards out today. I know you, I don't think you have them memorized yet. So go ahead and get your cards out to help you. Spread them out on your table. And let's see how we do. Okay. So let's take a look at this. And we'll just start with the very first one. Your quiz, all the practice quizzes look the same. This is the way your quiz will look, okay? So you're gonna have to sketch some pictures. So number 1, sketch the indicated curves. Look at your BFF cards and find this one. Which one is this? What's the name of this function? Exponential. And on your card, if this isn't what your card shows, you need to fix your card. Your card should have an asymptote at y equals 0, a dot at 0, 1, and a curve that shoots up like this. That's what your card should look like. This is the exponential. That's what your card should look like. Okay? And so you are going to memorize that shape so that when you get your real quiz, you will be able to draw that just like I did. All right, who remembers this one? Maybe you don't even need to check your card for this one. Which function is this? Absolute value. And what is the shape of absolute value? V. It's a V. So you should have a dot at the origin and a nice little V with arrows just like that. Absolute value V. And then, some of us practice this one in our homework. What shape is that one? Yep, Cam says it's a dot at the origin and then up and out. So make sure your picture, guys, make sure it looks like this. If it looks like this, it's wrong. It has to go up and out. Up and out. All right, anybody have questions so far? We're good on that? Okay. So we got 3 that we had to draw a picture of. Okay. Now we have 3 that we have to name. Look at your cards. Anybody know what A is? What is A? Logistic. That is your logistic function. Now when it says name, it means write the name. Not the equation, the name. What's B?
Greatest integer.
Greatest integer, yep. Greatest integer, very good. And C. You can either write squaring or you can write quadratic, whichever one you want. They're both right. Squaring or quadratic. You don't need to write both. You can write one or the other. Squaring or quadratic. Beautiful. Okay, so we have 3 where we have to graph. We have 3 where we have to write the name. And now we've got 3 where we have to write the equation. Okay? So here we go. Can you find in your notes, can you find A? What is A? Y equals X. It's the linear function or the identity function, Y equals X. And when you write an equation, it's an equation, Y equals something. So these will all be Y equals. Okay, how about P? Which one is P? Be careful.
Y equals ln x.
ln x, that's your logarithmic function, ln x. That's an L and x, ln x. Very, very good. Ooh, the last one's tricky.
Y equals
Cosine. Yep, cosine x, COS x. COS, that's the cosine. How do I know that's the cosine and not the sine? Because they look an awful lot alike.
It goes up to 1.
It starts at 1, right? Starts up here, it starts at the top of the hill. That's the cosine. All right, good? Now, this last question is the tricky one. You have 12 BFFs. You have drawn 3 of them, named 3 of them, and given the equation for 3 of them. There are 3 left. What are the 3 that we haven't already used?
Cubing.
Haven't done cubing. Now, you said cubing, so I'm gonna write cubing. But on this part, and remember, your quiz will look just like this. On this part, you can draw the picture, write the name, or write the equation. I don't care. Cubing. What else? Reciprocal. Good. And then sine. Make sure you say sine. Sine. Y equals sine x. Yep. Okay. Now that's all I'm going to do today with this. But we've got 5 more. We'll practice a couple of days until we get this down. But what is your job? What are you supposed to be doing? Learning these, right? Because it wasn't too hard with your cards in front of you. But remember, when you take the quiz, you won't have your cards. So we need to start getting this stuff down. All right, so stick that away somewhere. Keep it safe. Let's get our notes out and pick up where we left off, which is on page 10, problem number 4. We're going to finish 1.3 today. So 1.3 will be due on Wednesday. And before I go any further, if you guys are lucky, we have Miss Price joining us here. She is she wants to be a math teacher, the best job ever in the whole wide world. And she's currently studying at Marion. So she's here kind of observing to get a handle on this. Interestingly enough, she's done observing at, you said my colleague in Aaron, and she observed pre-cal classes there also. So who is going to be best? We are going to be best, right? So let's help her out and show her how wonderful you are. All right, so we are on number 10, or page 10, number 4. And we are going to sketch today, you guys, something called a piecewise function. All right, piecewise. And the reason these are called piecewise is because we are going to graph them in pieces. Notice that the function is written in 2 pieces, and that's how we're going to approach the graph. Okay, now, everybody's using pencil because we're going to be doing some erasing here in this process. So everybody's using pencil. First thing I want you to do is every piecewise function, and you've got a couple here in your notes, you can see they have this stuff written right over here. This is how their domain is split up. So the first thing I want you to do is wherever that number is, in this case it's a 3, I want you to draw a really light squiggly line. right down through there, just a really light one, because we're gonna erase it. That is where my graph is broken into two pieces. I'm gonna have something graphed on the left side, and I'm gonna have something graphed on the right side. Okay? Alright, so that's good. Now I'm gonna use my red marker here, and I'm gonna graph this. Okay, BFF, what shape is that? A V. That's a V. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw my V in. I'm using the color to distinguish it, but you can just do it in your regular pencil, or you can use colored pencils if you wish. Don't use pen because we're going to be erasing. Now, does that V cross my squiggly line? Yes. Where it crosses, I'm going to put a nice big open dot. Now, why do you think that dot's open? Take a look at that top row there where that absolute value came from. Why do you think that dot's open? Because there's nowhere equal to, right? Now, remember, this is the division line in the problem. That says x is bigger than 3. That tells me to keep the right side of the V. I'm going to erase the left side of the V. All of that gets erased. The only part of the V I keep is the part of the V that is to the right. Because look at that arrow. Which way is that arrow pointing?
Right.
Right. That tells me to keep that side. Okay? Now, I'm going to use my green marker, and I'm going to graph this guy. Now, what shape is he? A U? We should call it a parabola, but it looks like a U, right? So I'm going to go ahead and graph him. Notice that my parabola also crosses my squiggly line, right? So I'm going to put a big dot there, and I'm going to color that dot in.
Yep.
And then I'm going to erase part of my picture. This is a piecewise function. I only keep a piece of it. Look at the way that arrow is pointing. This time I'll keep the left side and erase the right side. So I'm going to erase that little arrow part right there. I'm going to go ahead and erase my squiggly line. And I'm done. My function is graphed, two pieces, part of a V and part of a parabola. Now, this is our first one. Of course, you're a little bit confused. Let me just say this. When you're done, your two dots should always be lined up right on top of each other, because the dots are on the squiggly line, right?
Yep.
So they're always going to be in line. You're never going to have a dot over here and a dot over here. It's always going to be in line. And one of them will be closed and one of them will be open every time. All right, let's try the next one.
Higher.
Oh man, just when we thought maybe we had a clue what was going on, we got a tough one. Who remembers, Eli, you okay this morning? Who remembers what I did very first? What was my very first thing I did in the last problem? Derek?
It's a little squiggy.
I drew a squiggle. Here I drew it at 3?
Yep.
Well, guess what, guys? This one's gonna have 2 squigglies, because your squigglies come from these numbers over here. So I'm gonna have a squiggly at 0, and I'm gonna have a squiggly at 2. This graph isn't going to be in 2 pieces. This one's gonna be in 3. See? Boom, boom, boom. 3 pieces. Alright, so I'm gonna do the top one in pink. What is my pink one? What shape is that, first of all? What is that? What shape? BFF. Linear. That's a line. Right?
Yep.
And it's been moved up 1.
Yep.
So instead of being a line through the origin, that would be the normal, I'll draw the normal linear. This would be the normal linear. I'm gonna move it up 1. That's supposed to be straight, sorry about that.
Very good.
Now, it hits this squiggly, this is the 0 squiggly, right here, with an open dot. Okay, there's a lot to keep track of, so raise your hand or say something if you got an issue with what I just did. That would be an open dot, right? Now, which way do I keep? This tells me I want to keep the left, which means I'm going to erase the whole right side of that. So there's my line, but I'm only interested in this part of it. Wait a second. What does this look like? What is that? That's a horizontal line. Very good, Eli. This is not a BFF. Y equals 3 is a horizontal line through 3. So this is Y equals 3. Okay. Now, which squiggly does he intersect? The 2 one right here. Open or closed dot. Open. I'm gonna get that stuff out of there. And that tells me to keep the right. So I'm going to erase the left. What's x squared? Parabola, right? So here's my parabola. Now notice the parabola hits both of the squiggles, the 0 and the 2. Charles, you okay back there, or you want to come up? You all right? Okay. Should those dots, the brown dots for the parabola, should they be open or closed? Closed. And this is wild. What do I keep? I keep the part that's in between them. So I'm going to keep this part. I'm going to get rid of all this and this. I'm going to erase my squiggles. Guys, if you don't erase your squiggles, it's fine with me. I don't care. I'm going to erase some, but you don't have to. That is a wild and crazy picture. nuts. All right, let's try this one. Let's see how far you can get on your own. Can you grab that?
What is that?
What is that?
Another linear.
Linear.
Oh, sorry.
Only it's been moved down 2. So instead of going through the origin, it's now going to go through the, oh, wait a minute, where's my squiggle?
Zero.
That's 0, I forgot to do that. My squiggle. And my line is going to go through that point right there. Should that point be open or closed?
Open.
Alright, good. And which part should I keep?
Right.
This tells me what to keep.
Right.
So I keep the right side, get rid of this one. This one's kind of a cheap shot on my part. Y equals 3x. You should know what that is, but we haven't specifically talked about that transformation yet. What does y equals 3x look like? mx plus b, it's another line. Goes through the origin and has a slope of 3, so up 3 over 1. Up 3 over 1, so that line, again, that's supposed to be a straight line, sorry. Looks like that. And he hits the squiggle right there at the origin. Tell me about it. Open or closed? Closed. Make your dots nice and big. Closed dot. And I'm going to keep, this tells me it's key, I'm going to keep the left. Erase all this. And there's your picture. So again, every single time, solid dot, open dot, lined up right on top of each other. Look over here. Open, closed, closed, open. They're always right on top of each other. One arrow is going that way, one arrow is going that way, every time. Okay? Alright, get out your 1-3 homework. I'm going to walk through the one that's in the 1-3 homework with you, and then we're going to move on. And we're doing this together, so everybody gets it right in the homework. Please work it with us. If you miss it, it's going to be double points off. As we're doing it together, find it, 1.3 homework. This is problem number D. We're doing D. The rest of them you're going to do on your own. Working in for office hours. But this one we're going to do together. Where's my squiggle? 2. So let's put a nice little squiggle, nice and light, right there. That tells me where my graph is going to be broken. Alright. Seth, what shape is this guy right here, this pink thing, what shape is he? And he's not gonna go through the origin, no, he's gonna be lifted up one. So he is going to look like this. And he crosses the squiggle here. Will that dot be open or closed? Open. Will I keep left or right? Keep, look wherever the arrow points, that's what I keep. So I'm keeping right. Work one. Done. Let's see. Most, what shape is that? Green. Parabola. And he's just a normal parabola, right? Just a regular BFF. So he is going to look like this. Open dot or closed dot? Closed. Keeping what? Keep left, so get rid of this little piece right here. I'll erase my squiggle, you don't need to if you don't want to. And that is it. Pretty good? Alright, put that away, you can finish that on your own. That's due on Wednesday. That homework is due on Wednesday. Alright, here we are, 1.4 notes. We are given 3 random functions. There is nothing special about these, they're just randomly made up. They are called F, G, and H. You aren't graphing them, you're doing arithmetic with them. So the first problem says, what do I get when I add my F function, that is this thing, and my G function? You may take a wild guess. You'll be right. It isn't hard. It's very obvious and easy. What am I going to get when I add these two together?
X3, X3.
I'm going to get x plus 2 plus x squared. I add F, this is F, and I add G, that's what I get. That's it. That's all there is to it.
You don't combine it?
You can't combine them.
Always right.
Now, what you might do, Derek, is, you know, we math teachers, we have this thing about things being in the right order. So you might go ahead and rearrange so it's in descending order, but there's no combining that can be done. Right?
Yep.
See what I did? It's really simple. Now, what do you think about this one? Again, don't make it hard. What do you think this means?
2x plus 2.
2 f of x's, right? So 2x plus 2's, which would be 2x plus 4. This is super simple, you guys. These piecewise functions blow our minds, but this is simple now. This gives us a chance to catch our breath a little bit. G of x minus h of x.
X squared minus 2x plus 1.
X squared minus, now be careful, minus negative 2x plus 5. So what's that going to become? X squared plus 2x minus 5. Watch your signs. those negatives, but that's correct. And again, does anything there combine? No. No. We're done. How about f of x times g of x? What do you think about that? What are we going to do there?
X plus 2 times x squared.
X squared times x plus 2, which is going to be what when I distribute?
X
cubed.
X cubed plus 2x squared. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then finally, what does this look like? F of x over g of x. What does that look like?
X plus 2 over x squared.
Yep. And Willow, does anything cancel there? No, good. No, 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 no. We're not going to cancel unless we can factor first. If we can factor, then we can cancel out. But since there's no factoring, we're not going to be able to cancel. All right, so everybody okay with that? Add, subtract, multiply, divide, pretty easy. Question F says, go back to all of these answers that we got. Look at the answers. And tell me what the domain of the problem is. It says, what's the domain of all the answers? So this is good review for us. Kendall, do you know what the domain of this would be? Yes, you do. Does it have a radical? Does it have a denominator? And if we don't have a radical or a denominator, what is our domain going to be? All reals. So we either write all reals or we write it like a math student as that interval. Okay, Kendall? So no radical, no denominator, all reals. All right, Kendall, you're on again. What about this one? All reals again, because answer B, no radical, no denominator, so it's all reals. We're good. How about C? All reals again. Cool, how about D? All real numbers again. Wow, it's getting boring. Connor? Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. What's this domain?
Is it all real numbers?
It would be, except we have a denominator. So what's our rule for denominators? Whatever is in the denominator cannot be 0. So x cannot be 0. Would be the domain of this one. Everything except 0. Well, okay, but if x squared can't be 0, then what does that mean about x? The x can't be 0. Okay? All right, same function. Now we're going to do something a little bit more interesting. Some of you are a little bored with that. It was so easy. Let's try this. From Algebra 2, does anybody remember how to do this? Sometimes it's written like this. I don't know if that looks more familiar to you. This is 2 ways of writing the exact same thing. Anybody know how to do that? Leilani, do you remember? Well, we can definitely use a calculator. We don't need one though. No one remembers? This is called a composition. When we read it, if we're saying it out loud, we will say F of G of X. That's, or of 2. F of G of 2 is how we read this. How we do it is, we start right here. Start with the letter that's closest to the number. So we first of all find G of 2. Remember how to find G of 2? We plug 2, here's G. We plug 2 into it. So what would G of 2 be? 4? 2 squared? G of 2, put a 2 in for all the x's. So G of 2 is 4. Then, guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna take that answer that we just got, and we're gonna plug it into F. So we put 2 into G, and got 4. Now we're gonna take that 4 and plug it into F. Okay, so what do we get when we put 4 into F? And that is the answer to the question. So it's a 2-step process, because there's 2 letters. We're gonna have to do 2 things. Take the given number and plug it in here. Get an answer. Take that answer and plug it into here. See how that works? You guys did this last year. You can't stare at me. H is exactly the same problem. Remember I said they're written both ways. So H is the same exercise.
I swear we do this last year.
Oh, yes, you did.
No.
Oh, I'll check and see, but I bet Mr. Meyer will say you did. I think you all just blacked out. All right, here we go.
Definitely go stay home.
Well, we're doing it now. So here we go. Let's see who's paying attention. What do I do first? What does this problem tell me to do first? Put 2 into F. Okay. What do I get when I put 2 into my F? I get 2 plus 2, which is 4. Now, take the 4. 4 is the answer to this bracket right here. Take the 4 and plug it into G. So G of 4, plug the 4 into G. So G of 4 would be 16. Now, one thing that's important to note is these 2 problems, this one that we did first and this one that we did second, are the same letters and numbers, but the answers came out different, didn't they? Because the order matters. This says do G first and then F. This says do F first and then G. That's important. You gotta do it in the right order. All right, 16. Yep, 16 is the answer to that problem. All right, I want you and your partner right now to do J. You and your partner to figure out what's going on with J.
Alright, 16. J.
Mary, you got an answer?
Would be 2x,
No.
negative 2x plus 5.
I think we
Parentheses,
What's your answer?
x plus 2.
We use the F of 1.
What'd you get as your final
Oh,
answer?
1.
1?
Mm.
All right, let's look at some other answers.
Great America.
Luke, what'd you guys get?
They still working.
You got 3? All right. How about Derek and Mose? You guys got an answer? You got 3 also?
Yep.
All right, let's check if we got a couple of 3s. What do we start with, class? Start by putting -1 into F. So we put -1 right here, and rules, we get 1. Okay? But that's only the first step. Because now, what do we have to do with that one that we got? We have to put it into
the H.
H? Oh, did you put it in G?
Yeah.
So what's H of one? Well, come up here, you put a one in there, you get 3. Does anybody have a question? Good job, good, you got 3. Anybody have a question about that? Okay, we're gonna do one more, and it's a doozy. We're gonna do F of G of H of 1. So where do we start? H of 1, which is 3. Then we back up. Now we'll do G of 3. What's G of 3? 9. And then we got one more. We have to do F of 9, which is 11. And that is the final answer to the problem. The answer is what you got when you're done with the letter. You've done all your
Doing English class.
all right, we'll pick up here tomorrow. On Wednesday, pick up here on Wednesday. Wednesday is when your homework is due. Make sure you get that done.